Welcome to Stoira.
The Delhi Tribune newsroom is a whirlwind of controlled chaos. Phones ring incessantly, keyboards clatter, and the air crackles with the energy of deadlines. Amidst this maelstrom sits Anika Roy, a young, sharp-eyed journalist hunched over her computer, her brow furrowed in concentration. Anika's fingers fly across the keys, her eyes darting between two monitors. On one, a half-finished article on a local farmer's protest. On the other, an encrypted email flashes onto the screen, its subject line simply, Rathore. Anika's heart skips a beat. Rathore. Vikram Rathore, the charismatic member of parliament whose meteoric rise has captivated the nation. Her curiosity piqued. She clicks on the email, her eyes scanning the anonymous message.
A land deal, shell companies, this could be huge.
Anika glances around, her eyes landing on Shailesh Mehta, the grizzled senior editor of the Delhi Tribune, his salt and pepper hair tousled as he pores over a stack of papers.
Shailesh, sir, I need to talk to you and—
Not now, Anika. We're on deadline.
This can't wait. It's about Vikram Rathore.
Shailesh finally looks up, his eyes narrowing with interest.
Rathore? What about him?
Anika leans in, her voice barely above a whisper.
I received a tip-off, a big one. It could be the story of the year.
Shailesh raises an eyebrow, his skepticism evident.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Anika. Rathore is a powerful man with powerful friends.
That's why we need to be careful, but if this is true—
She pauses, letting the implications hang in the air. Shailesh leans back in his chair, his fingers steepled thoughtfully. All right, Anika, let's hear it. Shailesh's office is a cramped, dimly lit space cluttered with books, newspapers, and awards. A single window overlooks the bustling newsroom below. Anika sits on a worn leather chair opposite Shailesh's desk, the anonymous email displayed on her laptop screen.
It's all here, Shailesh, sir. An anonymous source claims that Rathore is involved in a massive land scam. They've provided details about shell companies, offshore accounts.
Hold on, Anika. Who is this source? Can we trust them?
I don't know who they are, but the information seems credible. The details line up with some of the rumors I've heard circulating.
Rumors are not enough, Anika. We need hard evidence. Proof that will stand up in court.
I know, sir. That's why I need your help. I need resources to dig deeper.
Shailesh leans back in his chair, his fingers drumming on the desk. He knows the risks involved, but he also sees the potential impact of the story.
All right, Anika. I'll give you a week. 1 week to find something concrete. But if you don't, we drop it.
Thank you, sir. You won't regret this.
Shailesh nods, his expression a mix of hope and trepidation.
Just be careful, Anika. Rathore is not a man to be trifled with.
I will, sir.
She closes her laptop, a renewed sense of purpose fueling her every step as she leaves Shailesh's office and heads back into the heart of the newsroom. Vikram Rathore's office exudes power and opulence. Large windows offer a panoramic view of the city, sunlight glinting off the polished mahogany desk and the numerous awards and framed photographs adorning the walls. Rathore stands at the window, his back to the door, gazing out at the urban sprawl below. His posture is rigid, his fists clenched. A portly businessman with a slicked-back hairstyle and a predatory smile enters the room. He takes a seat on one of the plush leather chairs facing Rathore's desk.
Vikram, my friend, you asked to see me?
Vikram turns slowly, his face a mask of controlled anger.
There's a problem, Rajiv. A journalist is sniffing around the land deal.
Rajiv's smile falters, replaced by a look of concern.
A journalist? Who?
Anika Roy. Works for the Delhi Tribune.
Rajiv whistles softly.
The Delhi Tribune? They have a reputation for digging up dirt. This could be troublesome.
Troublesome? It's a disaster. If she exposes this deal, it could ruin everything we've worked for.
Rajiv leans forward, his eyes glinting with a dangerous light.
Don't worry, my friend. We'll take care of it. We always do.
Yes, we do. But this time, we need to be extra careful. This girl is tenacious.
Rajiv smiles, a chilling smile that sends a shiver down Vikram's spine.
Leave it to me, Vikram. I have ways of dealing with tenacious journalists.
Rajiv's chilling smile lingers in the air as he contemplates his next move.
Let me handle this. I have connections in the media industry. We'll make sure she gets a message loud and clear.
Vikram nods, still uneasy about the situation.
Just make sure it's done quietly. We can't afford any more attention.
Trust me, Vikram. No one will know a thing.
Following their meeting, Rajiv sets his plan in motion. He reaches out to a contact within the Delhi Tribune, a young and ambitious journalist named Karan Kapoor. Rajiv offers Karan an exclusive story on a rival politician in exchange for sabotaging Anika's investigation. Karan, eager to make a name for himself, agrees to the deal. Weeks pass and Anika finds herself stonewalled at every turn. Her sources suddenly go silent, and she receives anonymous threats warning her to drop the story. Undeterred, she pushes forward, convinced that the truth is just within her grasp. One evening, as Anika is leaving the office, she's approached by Karan Kapoor. He claims to have stumbled upon some crucial information related to her investigation and offers to share it with her. Intrigued, Anika agrees to meet him at a local cafe the following day. Little does she know that this innocent-seeming meeting will set off a chain of events that could cost her everything. As she sips her coffee and listens to Karan's story, Anika has no idea that she's walking straight into a trap set by Rajiv Varma and his powerful allies. The stakes have never been higher, and the fate of the nation's democracy hangs in the balance. Anika arrives at the cafe, her senses on high alert. She scans the room, looking for Karan Kapoor. Her eyes finally land on a young man in a pressed suit, sitting at a table in the corner. He waves her over, and she approaches with caution.
Anika, thank you for meeting me.
You said you had information on my investigation?
I do, but you need to promise me that you'll protect my source.
Anika nods, her curiosity piqued.
Of course, I never reveal my sources.
Karan hesitates for a moment before sliding a folder across the table.
This is everything I have on the land deal. But be careful, Anika. There are powerful people involved.
Anika opens the folder, her eyes widening as she scans the documents inside. It's everything she's been looking for. Evidence that could bring the entire conspiracy crashing down.
This is it, Karan. We can expose them all.
Just then, a group of men in suits approaches their table. Anika's heart skips a beat as she recognizes one of them as Rajiv Varma's henchman.
You're coming with us.
Anika tries to resist, but she's outnumbered and overpowered. As they drag her away, she catches a glimpse of Karan Kapoor, who looks on with a mixture of fear and guilt. The men shove Anika into the back of a waiting car, and she's driven to an unknown location. Her head is spinning, and her heart races with fear and anger. How could Karan have betrayed her like this? What does Rajiv Varma have planned for her? As the car speeds through the streets of Delhi, Anika knows that she's running out of time to expose the truth and save the nation's fragile democracy. Following the harrowing events at the cafe, Anika finds herself trapped in a dimly lit room, her hands bound behind her back. The air is thick with the smell of fear and desperation, and she can hear the sound of her own heart pounding in her ears. Rajiv Varma stands before her, his face twisted into a sinister smile.
You've been quite the thorn in our side, Miss Roy.
Anika's eyes flash with defiance.
I'll never stop trying to expose the truth.
Rajiv chuckles darkly, pacing around the room.
The truth? Oh, my dear, the truth is a slippery thing. It can be twisted and shaped to suit one's needs. You would do well to remember that.
Anika grits her teeth, refusing to back down.
I know the truth about the land deal, Rajiv. I have proof that you're involved.
Rajiv stops pacing, his gaze locked on Anika's face. His smile disappears, replaced by a cold, calculating expression.
And what exactly do you plan to do with this proof of yours?
Anika's heart skips a beat as she realizes the gravity of her situation. She's alone, trapped, and at the mercy of a dangerous man who will stop at nothing to protect his secret. But even in the face of such adversity, Anika's resolve remains unshakable.
I'll find a way to expose you, Rajiv, no matter what it takes.
As Rajiv contemplates his next move, Anika knows that time is running out. She must find a way to escape and bring the truth to light before it's too late.
As Rajiv ponders his next move, Anika sees an opening. She uses her body weight to pitch herself forward, throwing Rajiv off balance. In the confusion, she manages to slip her hands free from their bounds and lunges for the door.
Stop her.
Anika's heart races as she fumbles with the door handle, finally managing to throw the door open. She hurtles out of the room into a dimly lit hallway. As Rajiv's henchmen give chase, she races down the corridor, desperately searching for an exit. Her breath comes in ragged gasps as she rounds a corner, almost colliding with a servant carrying a tray of food. The servant's eyes widen in alarm, and Anika knows she's been spotted.
Please, help me.
The servant hesitates for a moment, then nods, pointing to a door at the end of the hallway. Anika wastes no time, sprinting towards the door and throwing it open. She finds herself in a quiet courtyard, the cool night air washing over her flushed face. She scans the area, spotting a gate on the opposite side of the courtyard. She makes a beeline for it, her heart pounding in her chest. As she reaches the gate, she hears footsteps approaching from behind. She doesn't dare look back, focusing all her energy on getting through the gate and to safety. With a final burst of speed, she shoves the gate open and stumbles through, finding herself in a dark alley. She pauses for a moment to catch her breath, listening for any sign of pursuit. When she hears nothing, she starts to make her way through the alley, keeping to the shadows. Her mind races as she tries to figure out her next move. She knows she can't go to the police. They're in Rajiv's pocket. And she can't trust anyone at the newspaper, not after Karan's betrayal.
I have to find proof. Undeniable proof that Rajiv is behind the land deal.
As she emerges from the alley, she spots a payphone on the street corner. She hurriedly dials a number, her fingers trembling with desperation. The phone rings once, twice, before a familiar voice answers, sleepily. Hello? Anika's voice breaks as she responds. Mom, it's me. I need your help. Distraught, Anika returns to her apartment, her thoughts racing. She knows that time is running out, and she must find a way to prove Rajiv's involvement in the land deal before it's too late. She paces the length of her small living room, her mind working frantically as she tries to piece together the fragments of evidence she's gathered so far.
I need to find something concrete, something that will stand up in court.
As she paces, her gaze falls on a stack of newspapers that she'd collected during her investigation. One headline catches her eye. Rajiv Varma, the man behind the deal. She grabs the paper, skimming the article for any clues she may have missed. Suddenly, something clicks. She remembers a conversation she'd had with a source, a former employee of Rajiv's who'd been fired under suspicious circumstances. The source had mentioned a safe in Rajiv's office where he kept sensitive documents.
The safe. If I can get my hands on whatever's inside, it could be exactly what I need.
With renewed determination, Anika sets her plan in motion. She knows that breaking into Rajiv's office is a risky move, but she's out of options. She spends the next few days gathering information on the building's security system, studying the guards' routines, and planning her entry. Finally, the day arrives. Anika waits until the dead of night, when the building is all but deserted, before making her move. She slips into the shadows, her heart pounding in her chest as she makes her way to Rajiv's office. She reaches the door, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She takes a moment to steady her nerves, then carefully picks the lock. The door swings open silently, and Anika steps into the darkened office. She moves cautiously, her eyes adjusting to the low light as she searches for the safe. She finds it tucked away in a corner, hidden behind a large framed painting. She removes the painting and examines the safe, a sinking feeling in her stomach as she realizes it's a high-end model with a sophisticated locking mechanism.
No, this can't be happening. I've come too far to be stopped now.
Just as she's about to give up, she spots a small notebook tucked behind the safe. She grabs it, leafing through the pages and finding a series of codes and numbers. One of the codes seems to match the lock on the safe. Anika's fingers tremble as she enters the code, holding her breath as she waits for the safe to open. Finally, she hears a click, and the door swings open. Inside, she finds a stack of documents, their importance immediately apparent. She quickly scans the pages, her excitement growing as she realizes she's finally found the evidence she needs to bring Rajiv down.
Gotcha.
Annika carefully photocopies the documents, taking care not to leave any traces of her presence. She tucks the originals back into the safe, closes the door, and re-enters the code to lock it. With the copied documents in hand, Annika slips out of Rajiv's office and makes her way back to her apartment. She spends the rest of the night poring over the evidence, piecing together the details of Rajiv's corrupt dealings. The next day, Annika meets with her editor, Anil, at a quiet coffee shop. She lays out the documents on the table, explaining the significance of each one.
This is solid evidence, Annika. It could bring Rajiv down and save the nation's democracy.
We need to publish this story as soon as possible. Every day that goes by is a day that Rajiv has to further his agenda.
We can't rush into this, Annika. We need to make sure we have all our bases covered before we go public with something like this.
We don't have time to wait, Anil. The country is on the brink of disaster.
Anil takes a deep breath, weighing the risks and potential rewards of publishing the story. Finally, he makes a decision.
You're right, Annika. We'll publish the story tomorrow. But first, we need to make sure our sources are protected and that we have a plan in place to deal with the fallout.
Annika nods in agreement, a sense of urgency and determination driving her forward. She and Anil spend the rest of the day preparing the article, verifying their sources, and consulting with the newspaper's legal team to ensure they have a strong defense against any potential retaliation from Rajiv or his allies. As the sun sets on the city, Annika returns to her apartment, her mind racing with anticipation and fear. She knows that tomorrow's publication could change the course of her country's history, but she also knows that there will be consequences for exposing the truth. Despite the risks, Annika is resolute in her mission to bring Rajiv to justice and protect the fragile democracy she holds dear. As she drifts off to sleep, she clings to the hope that her courage and determination will be enough to see her through the storm that is about to unfold.
Listen all episodes by downloading the Stoira app today